and kill a lot of young people, kill babies. You know, yesterday's story was that they beheaded, they massacre babies. You know, so that was what triggered much of this issue, because lots of lives are involved, innocents,
Souls.
the ones that are bearing the bond. So just pray that
I pray God will
no
take
time
charge.
there will be peace.
Amen.
Amen. Peace will reign. All right. Okay. I'll just lead it. I just want to share this before we continue because we don't have much time. I went to the market yesterday to get onions. And you know, I've walked past some onion seller and I noticed not so much. So I tried to go buy from my customer. So getting to my customer, I noticed, okay, this one is a bit better than the ones I've seen. So I just pick one. Okay, give me this one. Then after when she poured it inside the nylon, so I'm holding it, I noticed that one is already soft. So I just told her, Mama, I noticed one is soft. Can you help me change it? Oh God, I wish I wouldn't have said that. The woman just bring it. After collecting it, I was like, oh yeah, now change her. She then you go. And she's not selling again. I was like, no, I even said, Mama, I'm your customer. Look at, she did not even look at my face. She said, do you think that if not that the onions, that the particular one has spoiled, do you think I will now sell all this for 200 naira? Please go and buy in another place. And I stood there. Some people were with her. I was like, no, Mama, it hasn't gotten to that. This is your customer. If you just say you should. The woman got annoyed. I said, please go. I bought something for 12,000. And you are telling me to sell this for... See, as in, I was just trying to comprehend what was happening. I was like, Shutito, it hasn't gotten to this now. The woman was so annoyed. Then I realized it's the situation of this country. You know, everybody's just trying to make ends meet. I believe the amount she bought is she wouldn't have, you know, sell that particular one for 200, but she felt that let me just do so that people will buy. So she was telling me that if not that one has spoiled, do you think I will sell such number of onions for that amount of money? So when I left there, I was saying, if it were to be another person, I would just get annoyed and are you now? I want to buy something from you and because you are sending like because people were even telling her that no, this person is still calm. You were shouting at that. The man said, no, I don't want to sell again. So the other woman sitting there just said, please, do you still want to buy? I said, yes. He has to give me another one and then collect the money from me and gave it to her. The woman was still annoyed. So I was going, even before I left, I said, Mama, Emma Binu, please, Mama, don't be annoyed. Because I understand that it's the situation of this country. I've never seen her that way. I've been a customer for some years and she had never reacted that way. You understand? Anger. I bought it for 12,000. You are telling me to sell this. When I got, I just told my husband, like, yeah, things are happening. This country is hard. People are beginning to get annoyed.
Exactly.
God
Sorry,
help us.
I also saw a video yesterday. I think there has been a trend of missing private parts this time. I don't know if you guys have been following.
Yes.
Okay, yesterday there was one that happened at Asaba. There were 3 guys who accused a old woman of she's 56 years old, that she stole their private parts. And before you say Jack Robinson, people have descended on her.
Yes.
She was naked. They naked her, almost killing her. The woman was crying and calling for her own son, that they should allow her bring her own son, that she has not did this and that. And so, before you say, okay, thank God, police came into the matter. They took the woman to the police station and they investigated the matter. And at the end of it, do you know these guys confessed that she did not steal their private, that it was a prank. That it was a prank. And they almost killed this woman.
Prank. And they never stopped those mob from...
No! You need to see... They almost killed this woman.
You know, if they have
Sorry. So what did the police do?
They are on it. After investigation, it was the 3rd day of the matter that they got to know, because the guys were also in the police custody. I think investigation and pressing on them and all this. So before they discovered that they confessed that it was a prank, that they just want to make a prank video.
I would love to say this before we continue.
So
I believe people need to wake up. When somebody, I heard of it on Monday also, when somebody complained that his or her private organ has been stolen, please tell that person Remove your
It's
trouser.
happening.
Let's see.
It's happening.
Let's see.
It's happening.
If truly is not,
happening,
it
but
has
we need to be
disappeared or
careful.
it has shrunk.
Last
It has
week
shrunk.
in Abuja,
Talking about this-
it happened in several places in Abuja last week. But this one, you know, out of all this, you want to make social media.
Talking about this
that
prank,
doesn't make
this
sense.
prank issue.
So
you
it's
know,
getting out of
this Daddy Freeze. It was at the fuel station maybe yesterday or 2 days ago, and some guys just ran into the fuel station, started shouting, holding themselves as if he had to run away. It was until he ran away and he went to park miles ahead before he knew it was a prank. And they knew he was there. They were trying to get his attention and all of that. But you know, all in the name of prank, we need to find subtle way of doing these things.
Of endangering people's lives.
I think the police nabbed someone on that issue because the person too, I have forgotten his name, a popular stunt maker that his prank
the guy
was
on
getting,
always on white jalapia.
He was getting too much.
He faced the
and he was
music,
nabbed by the
and
police.
I think he should be wiser now.
All right, you guys, moving on to the next segment, which is the newspaper review segment. I have opened the Vanguard newspaper. Former governors, ex-ministers, others under investigation. That's from EFCC. You can read that story on page 8. Israel-Hamas war. Khan cautions against religious conflicts as Adeboye backs Israel. You can read that on page 13. Foreign investors scaled down equity stake to 37 billion naira on political concerns. The story is on page 19. APC Obi at war over Tinubu as LP president candidate asks Tinubu to answer 14 questions. Says Nigerians deserve the truth about president's true identity. Note Nigeria now considered nation of certificate forgers, fraudsters. President has no identity crisis. Obi acting article script. That's from APC. No evidence Tinubu forged certificates is submitted to INEC. That's from BBC. You can read this story on page 5. Senate, Lagos move to end Apapa gridlock. You can read the story on page 10. Southeast zone crucial to Nigerians' development. That's from Tinubu. You can read that story on page 11 on inflation. Protect poor people from high energy prices. IMF to FG. The story is on page 20. Health Minister to hospitals. Save lives before requesting for police reports. You can read that on page 9. Motorists alarmed as potholes litter third mainland bridge. The story is on page 10. An opinion from Olufason. Nigeria needs a new constitution, and a new constitution must define the roles of deputy governors and assign them specific state responsibilities. You can read that opinion on page 16. And from the world of sports, international friendly. Saudis mount pressure on Massene to beat Super Eagles. The story is on page 30. That's all from the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, we need this morning is the Punch newspaper, and the first news says EFCC recovers 27 billion naira, $19 million, probes ex-governors, ex-ministers. The news is on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. It's unconstitutional for states to regulate mining, says FG. That's coming from Alake. We can read that news on page 19. Air Force launches new aircraft, awaits attack helicopters. We can see the picture image on the front pages of the Punch, and you can read further on page 8. Ohaneze hails Igbo's release. Ask Tinubu to free Kanu. That news is on page 8. Lagos demolishes structures obstructing drainages. That is structures on drainage system. Lagos are demolishing them. You can read the news on page 14. Diphtheria kills 600 in 19 states. The new and NPHCDA recommends face mask. that means we need to go back to
The use
what
of
we're
face
doing
mask.
in 2020. So we need to start using the face mask again because of diphtheria. I know that outbreak is in town, so we need to be careful. So you don't go too close to another person. You keep your distance, and because sneezing, cough, and all of that, one can contact it from there. So we need to go back to the days of face masks. So, and that news is on page 12, and that is all from me from the front pages of the Punch newspaper.
All right, John.
Okay, I have Nigerian Tribune, and we'll start from the fuel scarcity. Fuel scarcity, marketers unable to load petroleum products. That is by IPMAN, IPMAN. And they say 6 joint security task force to tackle crude oil theft. That's on page 6 of Nigerian Tribune. And the other one says no to theft funds intervention in private varsities by ASU. That's on page 30 of Nigerian Tribune. And again, on page 15, we have peace not negotiable in Benue. In Benue, Army wants. That's on page 15 of Nigerian Tribune. And also we have 8 years after 2 pipeline vandalized who killed 7 DSS officers in Lagos convicted on page 16. Then also on page 28, we have FG to partially commercialize dams under its 12 river basins by minister to commercialize. All right, we just, okay, you can just pick a copy of Nigerian Tribune to follow up on that story. And we have on page 16, this is also interesting news from Lagos. Lagos to increase Blue Line trips from 12 to 52 from Monday. So that will also help the masses for transportation. Then on page 28, we have Deputy Governor's impeachment. Ondo CJ writes assembly. And lastly, from Nigerian Tribune is Mambila Zungeru Power Project. EFCC recovers houses in Lagos, Abuja, Cross River, alleges funds meant for projects diverted through BDCs on page 5. I think that will go a long way if they're able to make that recovery. That's all from me from Nigerian Tribune this month.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys, for that. All right, moving on to the next segment, which is the wisdom segment by the wise old man, Pastor Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning, my children. Today is Thursday. Happy Thursday. The 12th day in the month of October. My name is Pastor Solomon. The Bible is my watchword. Welcome. Good morning. Today you shall be blessed in Jesus' name. Quickly, the word of wisdom I have for you today. If you can't admit your mistakes, you are destined to repeat them. If you can't admit your mistakes, you are destined to repeat them. A lot of you don't want to admit that you made mistake. And you have forgotten that nobody is perfect. You are always right. You are always right. Your opinion is the best one. Your decision is the right one. You don't want to listen to any other one. You don't want to be corrected. You don't want to be advised. You believe you are better than everybody. You believe you are the best. You believe you are good. You believe you know everything. If you can't admit your mistake, my brother, my sister, my children, my pastor, my government worker, my government official, my husband, my wife, my children, my oga at the top, subordinates, manager. If you cannot admit your mistake, you are destined to repeat them. Since nobody can encourage you, nobody can advise you, nobody, you know You know everything. People who have good who knows the right, they will not tell you. So you are destined to repeat that same mistake. Learn to admit your mistake. Learn to know that you are wrong. Learn to know you are wrong. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Admit it. If you need to apologize, apologize. If you need to seek advice, seek advice. Nobody knows it all. It's only God. Nobody knows everything. A small child that you don't even look at him or her. Maybe it's the one, it's the one that will help you. It's the one that will even advise you. You see? If you can't admit your mistakes, you are destined to repeat them. Do you want to repeat the mistake? That costly mistake you just made, do you want to repeat it? Admit that you made a mistake. And seek for advice. Let people advise you. Collect a lot of advices and sieve it and take the one that is useful for you. And God will bless you in the name of Jesus. Tomorrow is another day. I remember Solomon and the Bible is my watchword. Make sure that the Bible is your watchword. And tomorrow Friday we shall see so. Bye.
All right, thank you, Pastor Solomon, for that wise advice for this morning. We really need it. Okay, moving on to the next segment, which is the main segment, the discussion segment for this morning. Today, we'll be talking about the situation happening in this country right now. So it will be like an advice to everyone watching this program. Mastering financial discipline during inflation. We all know what is happening in this country. We all know that inflation has eaten deep into the economy of this country. And we have in the studio a wonderful man, Mr. Olusegun Okunade. Is a policy and public analyst. He's a policy and public affair analyst. Sorry for that. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning to you. Good morning.
And thank you for yielding to our call.
Good morning to all
once again.
Viewers. Great to be here another time. I apologize. I was supposed to do this quite some time. But, just coming back to Lagos. We need to also, just like Body.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'll come back on set.
So, sir, before we talk about mastering financial discipline, let's talk about this issue of inflation. I was listening to an interview of Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. He's a motivational speaker and wealth creation. And he was saying that the inflation has come to stay, that we should not even think of maybe in the next few months we have a decrease in goods, in the prices of goods and services. And I just thought to myself, is that possible? What's your reaction to that, sir?
Yeah, currently, when you look at the matrix that surrounds inflation, I will go in line with what Dr. Olumide said. Because for us in the financial world, it's confusing to us. And when you know the masters are getting confused, the only thing you look at is you keep the status quo the same. There are certain things that actually causes inflation. Fundamentally, it has to do with production. You ask yourself the question, are we producing anything in this country? The answer is no. God has blessed us with several natural resources. We have the human capital. You ask yourself, how many of them are we processing? While we're growing up, while inflation was in a single digit, majority of the things you see then, production of this, production of that. Remember, we had rubber in the east, and we're producing tire. We have Ajaokuta steel built with our money. We are assembling automobiles because we could process that. We produce matches. We had companies that were producing chocolates because cocoa was out there for us. But all these things, you ask yourself, are they still there? The answer is yes. Are you processing it locally? The answer is no. Practically everything that you have to do, you have to send it to another country, process it for you, and bring back the finished product. So where will you and I get anything to work? So a country that is not productive in nature, that rely mostly on the importation, this is where we always find ourselves, because there's a way these things balance themselves. And if I have to depend solely on you to produce those things, that means you are my masters. You determine my faith. So if tomorrow now those that are producing, refining, or processing our crude oil refuse to refine for us, what will be our faith? That means it's not that there will be scarcity. There will not be availability at all.
Yeah.
And if let me just come down to lame language. If Bode is the one processing, you are the owner of the crude, and Bode is processing for you, and at that time he just decided on his own that I don't like to lose face. He's really not cooperating. I won't give you, even when you bring the crude oil at the time minute, I'll tell you that you need to delay. I have some malfunction in my production. And Abigail takes care of that opportunity. I'm sure you know if Bode is selling it to you at 10 naira, Abigail will come and sell to you at 15 naira because he can see the desperation in you.
Yeah.
So if there must be availability, the cost of that particular product, what will happen to it? It goes up. And that's what we've been seeing, that inflation has actually been going up, steadily. I'm sure before 2014 we were at about 10%. As we speak, it has risen beyond 30%. And that's paperwork on it. I would tell in the video that I go to market myself. You are ladies, you go to market, you're just complaining while you had your newspaper review. You discover that things have moved over 300%, and you're saying that inflation is 30%. How logical is that? So it has come to stay. Part of our discourse this morning is to see how to guide in the video so that we won't have a repeat of what your seller did to you, because practically everybody is frustrated and we are passing our aggression on others. And those that could not pass their aggression to others are actually, moving the light of taking up their lives themselves. But if there are areas where we can guide ourselves in area to make use of the little resources that we have, even the big men are complaining. Not to talk of small boys like us that are actually looking up to. This is the time that we fulfill the scripture. We are looking up to Christ, the author and finisher of our faith. Because whatever you have now, do not take you home, not to take off. It will not even take you to the bus stop, not to talk of taking you home. So you get to the bus stop and you now trek to your home. Gone are those days. No, they force us to do exercise.
Yes.
Before now, majority of us will say, no. How can I be walking? Do you know the amount I bought my shoe? Now that shoe is now being used.
It's like
We
voluntary
drop on the road
exercise.
voluntarily. There are those times. So inflation has come as we speak until government is intentional about certain things that will actually contribute and give back to the economy, and that's production. We have all the natural resources you need to talk about in the country. We have the human capital, which we should not take out. But what the gap is the processing arm. Are we able to utilize the skills of an average Nigerian to develop that process? Travel out of this country, which I've had opportunity to do, it's something that is disheartening. Majority of our citizens are the brain behind those things that they are reverting back to you. In the medical, in the education, in the tourism, out there in those developed countries, the only thing that works there is that they have a system that bridges the natural resources and the human capital. So there's a system that works for that individual to plug in and tap into that thing and make things work.
So apart from importation and exportation and the fact that we don't produce so much in this country rather than import, don't you think that at the declaration of the removal of fuel subsidy actually added today, because you already have this issue of inflation, we already have inflation already, but it hasn't gotten to this level before the declaration? Don't you think people just, in Nigeria, we're opportunists at the declaration of anything, but it's an opportunity for me to just get more money? Don't you think that's why the inflation has gotten to this extent?
Tolu, I won't go your route to say that we are all opportunists. It's reality. Well, they increased the price of fuel when Mr. President used that three-letter word, no sentence, no argument, affirmatively, subsidy is gone. You don't need to start explaining anything. Go and read the rest in your dictionary. It's not mere opportunity to say, I want to just on my own voluntarily increase the price of things. I'm sure you know the cost of transportation went high up there, over 300%. And if you want to look at the cost of production, logistics plays a major role. Even if you produce those things in your place and you need to move it to the end user, you are going to make use of transportation. The other aspect of it is that even if you are producing, pure, is it pure water, is it anything you are producing in your home, you are doing chin-chin, you need power.
Exactly.
How strategic are we to the source of power? The aspect of it is that the power is not available. So you resort to alternative power supply. What do you power those things with? Not water. It's petrol
Yes.
and diesel. So that on its own adds to your cost of production. So it's not that the average businessman is just intentional or just want to, in quotes, the way an average people will say that we are capitalists. I happen to be a business owner, and part of some of these things I resorted to is people yearning for, sir, things are not easy, can we increase salary? And it's just two options. Are we staying where we are, or I can always just show you the way out where you can get better. You know, there are some companies that are paying better salary.
Yes.
But you ask yourself, how many companies are increasing salary as we speak? So you discover that several approaches are given to businessmen. So we now work like 2-3 days a week as an organization, of which you cannot. You have to be on 24/7, you know. But for some of us, you work from home, and you ask yourself, you're putting pressure on the staff, which we know. But you have no other alternative than to see how you can augment that. Your cost of transportation can be used to have maybe data and do some certain things. So it's about creativity that we're all working with. But I think government on its own should be intentional in putting certain things in place. The one I am actually after, it's fixed power and make sure that we can refine product. Let's be productive. We are creative as individuals. You need to see our young ones, the creativity in them.
Yes.
Is it in entertainment, what you want to say? Is it in fintech? Is it in designing, you know, some of these things? And most of the time when I talk to the government, I talk to the followers too. How much do we believe in ourselves? I do tell individuals these days, I'm moving the trend to say, let me patronize most of the things that we produce here. At least if you produce. That's why most of the time you see me down on Adire or you see me on Ankara. If there is any that they are still producing locally. But at least we know that is our identity.
Yes,
And
yes.
that on its own can look for a way to encourage patronage. You know, we have so much indoctrinate ourselves, and it cut across space in such a way that we don't even believe anything we produce. And if you look at those people that you are celebrating their production, there will definitely be faults. A child do not wake up one day and start working.
Sure.
You must rise, fall, rise, then the mom will come, put hand like this and be guiding the child. And that's what the consumer should do to the, you know, the manufacturers, to tell them in such a way that some of the things so that when you produce locally, you can give more job. We keep saying entrepreneur. How many entrepreneurs are surviving what we have currently? A lot are not actually surviving it. And that's a problem that I feel that government needs to quickly address. As soon as we start, you know, domesticating some of the things we are doing, that we can be productive. A lot of people out there, majority of the people that jump are not finding it interesting, but they have no option. You know, you are between the deep blue and the Red Sea. You just have to go one way
Pick
side.
one.
Those of us that are here, it's not that we are enjoying it. Some of us have just make up our mind to say we go
We are not
nowhere.
going.
Despite whatever, we've been there. I've had opportunity to be, if I wanted to relocate, in fact, it won't take me, but I just said, this is, why is it that God did not allow my mom to travel to that part to give birth to me and be there? But since he said he's here, I will stay here. But those that are there too, they've been able, they pushed themselves out of space, selling all that they have worked for years,
Yes,
and got to that aspect. How do you come back and start? If I have a lot, very few coming in, they will not check into Lagos. They will just go and check into one other area, cooling down themselves and look at ways. A friend called me and said, Sheson, what I worked for in Nigeria, I've been here in the last 6 months. The savings I came with is what I'm still expending. Why? There is no work. So you want such person to swallow up the pride and come back to Nigeria. And because I'm not where he left me, even though I'm complaining in this country, I'm not where he left me.
Of course. Ahead.
And you discover that those things that he's expending there is from this country that is not good, that he got the money. So it's a function of how prepared are you as an individual, how focused are you. In the midst of lack, there is plenty. People are still having their way out in this country. It may be difficult. But certain people don't come to reality, and that's why when we are talking to this topic, we'll go to the area of needs and wants. People are unable to separate these two things, and that's why we are having a lot of desperation. People, getting frustrated. There is difference between needs. There are certain things you need to survive. Those things, you still need to manage the needs. Those days where we're growing up, we have this slogan of 111, 101, 11. And thank God for the foundation they gave to some of us. These days, you may not need to pray, but you can go fasting.
Exactly.
Those are part of the foundations that we had. So you wake up in the morning, your mom will tell you you are not eating till 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
We didn't know that they are seeing into the future. And you ask yourself, Mom, and we just say, okay, ma, by 12 we will eat. And then we'll pray. When you pray, you now eat. So you have actually systematically moved the first one. So it's 0, 1, 1. You understand? So, and there are days they will say, no, it's not going to be 12 today. You are no longer a baby now. It should be 3 o'clock. So you move to 3. That means you have removed 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 to 1. So you break by 3 o'clock. And if you have good food, that might be the only food for those. I'm talking of years back. This is not 10 years, this is 12 years. And at the time, they now say, you are now a full-grown adult by God's grace. You should not be doing 3 o'clock. 6 is your time now. So that what you have done is 0, 0, 1. So you take the evening and you go. That is part of the reality we must face now. You must actually prioritize your needs. Even in fact, the area of wants, there are luxury things that you feel that, when we're growing, they say, I want to be a doctor. This is not where I want to be something. I just need certain things to survive. If you wither the stem as we speak, then you can start concentrating on your wants. And that's why we keep telling every individual, you are collecting 30,000 and you just want to buy clothes. What, just one single one. Say, techie one, they must know that I dress to kill. Okay, you dress to kill them and come back and kill yourself.
Be hungry.
Because when you are in-house, nobody understands your suffering.
Yes,
And
exactly.
those are areas that we have actually shifted ground. Social media has actually put every one of us under pressure. Those that want to be under pressure. You can't put me under pressure. My life is my life. Because you are not there when I was studying. You are not there when I was doing this prayer and fasting. You are not there when I was coming up. So whatever I want to be, you can make me to be your pressure, so that when I come up, I say, this man is this man is that is this. So, but the truth of the matter is, can we start managing our needs based on the resources? When we're growing up, they will say, cut your code according to your size. No, you don't cut your code according to your size. Now, you cut it according to the measure of the material that you are given. Those days you can buy 12 yards of Ankara. You understand? These days, God has helped us because of the situation. When you want to buy Ankara, you buy 6 yards. So Madam has a way of, combining the colors. So it gives you 4 yards. She takes 2 yards. And now complement. You have a way of very creative women. You now add that to it. So instead of me buying 12 yards, which definitely might be wasteful, I now buy 6. I take 4. There are times I look, okay, madam, you can take 4. I will take 2 because of the style you want to sew. That 2, I will now look for a good top with it and ask them to get material that will complement it.
Exactly.
I'm sure, but those are fine way
Of course.
moving those things. Those are areas, and how much of the things that you are doing are the things that are needed. I know some people will complain that even to eat, what you now do is that while we're growing up, there are not experiences you want to talk about. But the major thing is, I must definitely survive this time. Because I can tell you, it's a passing phase. Even in the scripture, the children of Israel, left Egypt, they went through their trial, the wilderness, and they got to the promised land. Nigeria, it's going to be great. I have that. I'm very optimistic about it, irrespective of whatever we're faced with. But try as much as possible to control the way and manner you do things. These days, I don't go out if I don't need to go out. These days, even there are several stations I grant interview to, and I'll tell you point blank, it's virtual. Just give me the link, let me join. It's still going to be the same contribution that I'm going to offer to you. And a lot of people are integrating into that. It's because you now have to prioritize your wants.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I must say this session has been so engaging and eye-opening.
Educative.
Yeah, exactly. And you've tried to talk about being how we can be disciplined with our finances during this inflation. But you've mentioned the wants and the need. But something happened this morning while I was coming. A guy saw me this morning. He was with 100 naira, and he said he wants to eat bread and beans with 100 naira, that anything I have, I should give to him. But when I checked myself, I had only 15 naira to add to that money for him. For somebody like that, how can he prioritize? I know you've also mentioned 001, 101 and all, but how can somebody like that survive? Or how can he be so disciplined? Maybe that's the only money he has. Should he fast till night, and because that 100 naira still can't feed him very well? So how can we be financially disciplined in this period?
You see, first and foremost, it's not all that terrible most of the time. There are periods that we still have little influx, but may not be able to take care of all those things.
Of course.
I will always say, how much do you try to kind of, I will still use the word because it's the common word, save for the rainy day. Today, a lot of people are so monotonous in what they do, and that's the only thing they want to do. It's a time where you ask yourself, sit down, and look at some of the God's gifts in your life. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a mass communicator. But there are certain things I do these days. As a chairman of a district of a reputable professional body, I anchor programs. It's that interesting. I anchor programs. And from there, at times, I get few funds that comes to me. How much can you diversify with the God-given gifts? That is not taught as a chartered accountant. That is not taught as a tax practitioner. Can you look at your immediate environment? How can you satisfy their needs? Most people want to wait and rely on individuals and say the environment is not conducive for them to make ends meet. But the truth is, look inward. As we are complaining, people are still creating certain things. And I always advise the young ones, most of the time it's not starting to make money. That is the order of the game. There are certain things you sacrifice to do. And that will convince certain set of people the potential that is embedded in you. So when you provide it, money will come. I always say this, and I learned it from one of the books I read. I don't chase cats. And when I mean cat, if you start chasing cats in this place, you won't catch cat.
Of course.
He has a way of sneaking up and down.
Exactly.
But you know the best way to get a cat? Get something that will attract him to you.
And then
It will come. That's the way money is. Most of the time we run after money, but we don't do basic things that will attract the money to us. And it's not about creating value, a value proposition. There are certain work I want to give to people. It's not about your technical know-how. I look at your attitude. I look at your disposition. Some are so egocentric that they feel that without them, nothing can happen. And they will be part of the people that will be complaining that things are not working to
way.
way.
Call. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Someone the line?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to, yes.
Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
It is Basi calling from Festa. I can hear you loud and clear. It is Basi calling from Festa.
Basi calling from Festa.
It's so unfortunate. I'm calling from Festa. You should have been listening to series of your conversation over
Okay.
the week.
All right.
You've been talking about inflation and things like that.
Yes.
But when we are talking about this inflation, it's not just but it's so unfortunate that we're in a country, you see, when people come out, they try to relate their experience to what everybody is passing through.
No.
They're not the same. And you see what I'm happy is that what is happening now, everybody is feeling the effect, whether you are in Abuja or in Alausa or in Kittu or wherever. I'm coming now. You see, what is happening now? We will not feel the effect now. The effect will come about 10 years later.
Okay.
You know the benefits of unemployment in Nigeria? Abata came in for 5 years. He made every.
Oh, so you lost the call. All right, we can continue, sir.
Yeah, to buttress what the man is trying to say, you see, in the time of difficulty, you bring out the best in you if indeed you want to move ahead. I will tell the way I counsel the youth. I have some mentees I follow, and you discover that a lot will say, my mom is not doing this, my parents are not doing this, and you'll be where you are till years. And I will tell them, do you know my upbringing? You need to understand my parents. They tried their best. But the first thing is to discover yourself. In the midst of these issues and calamity that we are faced with in the nation, first thing you should do, I appreciate the fact that the man is saying that it's cut across. Even the big men are complaining because the business is not moving the way it should. And that's why, see, there's the way this thing trickles down. When the big man have it, he gives to the gardener. The gardener gives to the wife gives to the son, you know, and do those things. That's the way. But when the main source is really, tightened up, the man is being, having delay in paying his salary, definitely will affect those that are dependent on him.
Exactly.
And that's why we keep saying that for those individuals, what are you seeing around you that you can easily tap into? Some will tell you that I've seen individuals that this work from home has actually favored because it's an opportunity for them to do certain things. They plan themselves and say, okay, this is the task my boss has given to me. I need to achieve it between now and now. But between this period and this period, people are actually taking opportunity to get work from overseas online. And they'll get those things resolved. They'll say, because there are certain work you can deliver without seeing the people. There are a lot of work I've done that I don't need to see you face to face. You get me paid, I move on. So people are exploring other avenue. It's because the hardship in the land, it's opening up your sense of reasoning. So rather than you complaining, you should be looking at what exactly can I do to contribute meaningfully, to add value to the system. What Bode said, when value drives you, it brings the best out of you. But when you are driven by money, as soon as you get the money, you get disconnected. But if it is about value, even when the money is there, because you are driven by value, you still want to oh, I've just done this. Oh, people are patronizing. No, I must add to it. No, I must go to the next level. I must go to the next level. And it cut across space. If you're in the fintech, you develop a small app today. If it is about money, you make quick money with that app. And that app will die. You go back to status quo. But if you are the type that is driven by value, when you create, oh, this is welcomed by people, what other additions can I do to it? What other things can I do? You are a journalist. You look at, okay, what other value area can I be appreciated in what I'm doing? You must first discover your person. You see, we complain in the country, but globally there are crises. Globally there are crises. We should not paint it as if this problem is about us in Nigeria. It's a global issue. If you have opportunity to talk to people outside the shore of this country, they will tell you that it's not smiling. The only difference is that they have some system working for them.
Exactly.
But they will tell you on the other side, we can complain of non-availability of supply in Nigeria because we hardly pay for supply. Everybody wants to steal energy. Energy theft is there. But up there, what they play for utility, that you are saying, give it to us. We've seen elites where they will not even pay NEPA bills. We've seen people that will bypass meter that you are talking about.
Exactly.
We've seen people that will encourage even the staff of some of these discos to just give them stipends. I'll be using free electricity. That is the system value that we have missed out. If I know that I have to do it right, and I'm not getting it right, and I expose myself, and you are coming as a staff to say, Sir Oga, we can help you, say, no, I don't want that. And there was a period that a friend was actually stopped by. He parked somewhere and they said, no, where you parked is wrong. He said, but there is no parking here. And I pulled over. And the guy said, we can say. He said, no, take me to your office. Take me to your office. They got to the office, forgetting that he has a recorder on him. So look at the transaction that transpired. The Oga had to say, the man you are relating to is far beyond you. You know, that kind of a thing. So if we allow the system to work, most of the time we blame the leader. The leader did not descend from heaven. They grew up the way all of us are.
Humans like
You know,
us.
they are. And we saw those traces in them, but we decide to blanket. And that's how we always tell every individual that if we must make this country work, we must go back to the value proposition that we grew up with. Where when you see something, you say something irrespective of it. While we were growing up, if I do something wrong, Bode's mom will beat me, and my mom will be. In fact, I won't want Bode's mom to tell my mom that I was beaten, because that's another 6 strokes for me at home. Sure. Because it's a failure on the part of my mom. She will feel that I'm not taking care or doing what is necessary for this kid. But these days, if Bode's mom beats me outside, my mom will wear a karate suit and go and say, why must you? Do you know what it took me to get this child and this and that? But those days, it's a caution for us, because I don't want the other mommy to actually speak ill of me, because when I get home, mommy will say they reported you to me. These days, children pick things that do not belong to them. We must start from the basic. Most of the time, you allow me to say this in Yoruba, they will say, you are looking up. You are not looking. It's the foundation.
Yes.
We must address this issue from the foundation. And what is the foundation of the system, of the society? Family. Parents are no longer where they should be to give the necessary support. The only thing we complain is that, if I have to stay with these kids at home, what will they eat? What actually are our parents eating there? Who are contented with what we have. It's not about going to flamboyant school. I may proud to tell everybody that I went to Ijota Secondary School. But most of the time when they are talking to me, they say, I'm sure you attended a private school. I say, public school, law.
I really enjoy. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Honestly.
I don't really want to stop, but because of our time,
No problem.
we just have to stop. So please, I want you to give your final word, like advice to our viewers because of this situation.
Yeah, well, the advice I'll give to our viewers is know yourself, identify yourself, create your happiness, because behind the tunnel there is always light. It's a trying phase, it's a passing phase. We always get to the end of it. And please, let's go back to the drawing board. Parents, give the necessary things. See, COVID has brought something in such a way that parents now work from home.
Yeah.
How much attention do you pay to the children? They will now become the problem of the nation in the nearest future if they are not taken care of. Do not create those, don't let them see the wants. Address the needs for them so that together we can make the country great.
Thank you very much, sir. If you're just joining the program, we've been having a discussion with Mr. Olusegun Okunade, a public affairs analyst, and he has given us so much information this morning. I wish the discussion should just continue, but we just have to stop because of our time. All right, this is how far we can go on today's program. You can watch the repeat broadcast at 10 p.m. Then we'll give you a fresh episode tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.